Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Perry City Council. At this time, I will call the regular meeting for the Perry City Council for Tuesday, February the 3rd, 2026 to order. We do have a quorum this evening. Item 3 on our agenda is the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Reverend King will lead us in the invocation. Dr. Albritton will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. If you are able, would you please stand at this time?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Item 4 on our agenda, citizens with input relative to agenda items except public hearing, and you'll have an opportunity during the public hearing to voice your feelings. Is there anyone that would like to address Mayor and Council relative to an agenda item this evening? Thank you. Council members, before we move forward we discussed this last night, but as you address your comments, would you please speak into the microphone so that our streaming will work for the people watching us on YouTube. Item 5 are appointments. 5A is the Perry Planning Commission. Council member Dr. Faust has an appointment of Robert L. Story to the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, Mr. Story comes to us willing to serve on the Planning Commission with almost 50 years of experience in surveying and planning work, and he is semi-retired and excited to be able to contribute to our town and the work that we have at hand. So I am eager for him to get on there and get going.
Good. Council members, any questions? At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve Robert L. Story to the Perry Planning Commission. Motion is second. All in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that Mr. Story is our new Perry Planning Commissioner. Thank you. Wish him good luck for me.
Thank you. That's going to be great.
Item 6 are public hearing. The purpose of this public hearing is to provide any interested parties with an opportunity to express their views and concerns in accordance with OCGA Section 36-66-4. This public hearing is now open. Item 6A is a rezoning request. It's RZNE 0223-2025. The applicant is Patriot Development Group, LLC, requesting the rezoning of property to amend existing PUD standards. The property is located at 1824 House and Lake Road and 1904 Highway 127. The tax map numbers are 0P0490. 062 000 and OP 0490 061 000 and OP 0490 078 000. Ms. Carson?
Thank you, Mayor. As stated, this is a rezoning request for the Encore PUD standards. The applicant is seeking approval for what we consider to be a substantive change to the north entrance on the existing PUD plan. This change is due to a request from the Georgia Department of Transportation. They are requiring the developer provide additional right-of-way width at the north entrance to the development. So they are going to have to adjust the development to accommodate that requirement. Surrounding zoning and land uses are single-family residential and commercial. To the north, that is zone RAG, residential agriculture, and C2 commercial county. To the south is R3 single-family residential used as such. To the east is RAG residential agriculture used as single-family residential and an event center. And to the west is C2 general commercial, and it is used as such. We do believe that this application is in alignment with the 2022 Joint Comprehensive Plan that lists this property as located in a suburban residential character area. The uses allowed in the PUD zoning designation do complement the surrounding residential uses. We don't expect any adverse impacts from the update to this entrance. This will actually ensure proper traffic flow to and from the development and accommodate any future needs that GDOT may have. There are no excess burdens expected on existing streets, utilities, city services, or schools. And this proposed area of change is part of a larger development, which supports the council's goal to concentrate mixed-use and higher-density residential developments along the Perry Parkway corridor. The Planning Commission did recommend approval of the application as submitted, and I welcome all questions.
Questions, council members, relative to this rezoning request? Thank you, Ms. Carson.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone here this evening who would like to speak in favor of this? Yes, sir. If you would come forward and give us your name and address, please.
Yes, good evening, City Council and Mayor. My name is Brian Braun with Axis Engineering Consultants. I am here representing Patriot Development Group. So just a little backstory, history on this project. This project was issued a land disturbance permit several years ago by a different engineering company. We came in and started doing the access portion. We did the southern entrance, got it permitted through DOT, and kind of did the commercial buildings that are there that you see now. So this is, the subject now is the north entrance, further up State Highway 127, Houston Lake Road. During the GDOT permit process, Georgia DOT has some rules about when you turn into a piece of property, you have to have so many linear feet internally before you can make a turn. You see that a lot of big boxes, where you have to go so many feet before you see another driveway. So DOT has a 100-foot minimum to 200-foot minimum, depending on how deep your project is. This project required a 200-foot depth between the intersection before you can have a turn onto another road. So therefore, we had to modify the internal drives for this project. Same amount of units as before that was zoned. So this is just a modification to our site plan. Since we were a PUD, we were a site plan specific zoning. So we came and changed our site plan to accommodate Georgia DOT. Same amount of units, nothing changed there. So same standards, same everything, just we had to remove some roads that were closer to the intersection. So hopefully that clears some things up on that. So be glad to answer any questions from the council.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone else here this evening who would like to speak in favor of this application? Anyone here that would like to speak in favor of the application? Thank you. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in opposition of this application? Is there anyone here to speak against this application? Thank you. Item 6B is a rezoning request, RZNE 0225, 2025. The applicant is Paul Schofield. Requests the rezoning of property from R-2 single-family residential to RM1 multifamily residential. The property is located on Frank Satterfield Road. The tax map number is 0P05450130000. My understanding is we've had some additional information relative to this property, and then there's a request to withdraw it from this public hearing. Is that the case?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay. And that does not require a vote, does it, Mrs. Newby? If they're going to they're requesting it.
Is it at the request of the applicant?
It is following discussion with the applicant, and we came to an agreement that that was the best course of action.
Then no, sir. If it's at the request of the applicant to withdraw the hearing,
Okay.
then it doesn't have to be voted upon.
Very good. Thank you. Item 6C is a special exception, is SUSE 0227, 2025. The applicant is Winfield and Company LLC, or Whitefield, I'm sorry, requesting a special exception to allow a short-term rental. The property is located at 1414 Main Street. The tax map number is 0P022004900. Ms. Carson?
Thank you, Mayor. As stated, this is a special exception request for 1414 Main Street. This property is located in the Edgewood Heights subdivision, zoned as R1 single-family residential. The applicant is requesting to use the entire 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house as a short-term residential rental. They have owned this property since May of 2025. This residential rental would be for up to 8 guests with 3 vehicles. The house did pass all minimum health and safety standards at the time of inspection. Surrounding zoning and land use is as follows. It's surrounded on all sides by R1 single-family residential and used as such on all sides. The property is in a traditional neighborhood character area in the 2022 Joint Comprehensive Plan. Typically, that is developed with residential uses. Adequate city services exist, and it should not increase or interfere with pedestrian or vehicular traffic, population density, or create public health hazard or nuisance. Neighboring properties should not be adversely affected, and there are no other substantial reasons why it should not be used in this manner on a less than 30-day basis. The frequency of guests does not change the permanent use of the structure as a dwelling unit. With those things in mind, Planning Commission did recommend approval for the application, and I welcome all questions.
Any questions, council members, relative to the special exception request?
This is a ballpark question. How
Yes.
far away from Morningside Elementary School would you say this house is?
It is more than 2,000 feet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Was there any feedback from the public on this item?
No, sir.
Other questions? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of this application? Yes, sir. If you'd come forward and give us your name and address, we would appreciate it.
My name is Landon Moore. My wife Elizabeth Moore and I live at 108 Flat Rock Lane in Perry, Georgia. We do own Whitfield and Company LLC, and I'm here to speak on our behalf in favor of the application, and just thank y'all for taking it under consideration. And if there's any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer whatever you got.
Questions, council? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank y'all.
Is there anyone here this evening that would like to speak in favor of it? Anyone in favor? Is there anyone here this evening that would like to speak in opposition of this special exception? Anyone speaking in opposition? Thank you. Item 6D is a text amendment, is text 0221-2025. The applicant is the City of Perry, requesting a text amendment to the Land Management Ordinance to amend Section 2-3.13.2 preliminary plats by adding Section 2-3.13.2G addressing requirements. Mr. Duffy?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Yes, so this item is a process improvement clarification to identify and state that the responsibility for emergency 911 compliant addressing of proposed building and unit locations is the responsibility of the applicant to provide and must be labeled on preliminary plats submitted for review at time of submission. The amendment is intended to streamline the addressing process applied to preliminary plat applications at the beginning of the process upon receipt for review and consideration by the city. The proposed language change is in addition to subsection 2-3.13.2, which is adding a new subsection letter G as follows under addressing requirements. Number 1, applicants shall be required to submit desired parcel and or suite and or dwelling unit address numbers as a labeled component of preliminary plats. Coordination of address and compliance with applicable city or county emergency service and public safety agencies is the responsibility of the applicant. A more streamlined process is needed to align with Perry's increased rate of growth and complexity of development patterns. An archaic manual procedure of handwriting addresses by staff physically upon paper plats, then scanned for consideration by emergency services personnel, has proven to be an inefficient means of handling this important process, particularly for larger scale developments and market trends which encourage less traditional mixed-use projects. Looking at our standards for granting a text amendment, the amendment is not inconsistent with the comprehensive plan's guidance. The proposed amendment is consistent with the format of the land management ordinance. Long-standing practice of staff manually hand addressing plats for submission after their approval before emergency services have reviewed has proven inadequate. The rate of growth and varied building typologies more recently experienced requires that addressing be proposed in advance of the city's conceptual review and potential approval of preliminary plats by the surveying professional or civil engineer creating the document. A demonstrated community need does exist in that requiring a uniform addressing process of development applicants is needed by emergency services as an effective means of locating locations in the event of an emergency and establishing the ability for staff to process site permits. The amendment is consistent with the intent of the Land Management Ordinance's establishment of administrative procedures. The amendment shall streamline the review process required of multiple governmental units, in which in turn does support a logical and orderly physical development pattern. The amendment has no direct impact on the natural environment. The amendment has no direct impact on public facilities, although will improve service delivery speed of multiple governmental units. Both staff and the Planning Commission did recommend this item for approval.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Questions, council members? Thank you, Mr. Duffy.
Sure.
Is there anyone here this evening who would like to speak in favor of this text amendment? Yes, sir.
Good evening. Brian Braun with Axis Engineering. I support it. I did have a question, and I'll answer it to you. Maybe you can ask it to staff. So typically we do get 911, Houston County E91 to grant us approval on the road names. After that, typically the United States Postal Service has been giving us the addresses in other jurisdictions. I do understand what Mr. Duffy said, that here locally staff was given addresses, but so just from clarity, I don't know if the engineers are the persons to give the actual number to the lots. So in other jurisdictions, the Postal Service is involved in dishing out the numbers. We do get the road names from 911. So just maybe some clarity on that, so I can make sure we do the plats correctly. So.
Okay, thank you. We will. Mr. Duffy, would you take that, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. The city would gladly accept the Postal Service's assignment of those numbers, but we would request those be communicated to us via the project applicants.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak in favor this evening? Is there anyone here that would like to speak in opposition of the text request? Anyone speaking in opposition? Thank you. This public hearing is now closed. Item 7 on our agenda is the review of the minutes. 7A is council. You've been provided the minutes of the January 20th, 2026 pre-council and the January 20th, 2026 regular meeting. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes as submitted. Second. Motion is second. Is there any additions, deletions, or changes that you would like to make to those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting as presented, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the minutes were approved unanimously. Item 8 is unfinished business. 8A are ordinances for the second reading and adoption. 8A1 is a second reading of an ordinance to amend the FY 2026 operating budget. Mr. Worthington?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, before you is the second reading of an ordinance that was presented at your last meeting. This ordinance does amend the fiscal year 2026 operating budget by recognizing revenues that we know have come in that weren't in the original budget, and also amending expenses as staff has seen and believes they need to be done. Staff's recommendation remains the same as it was read at the first ordinance.
Okay. Questions, council? Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone here this evening that would like to address mayor and council relative to this ordinance? Thank you, Mr. Worthington. At this time, I'll entertain a motion that outlines your desires on this ordinance.
Have a motion, Mayor, with amendments by May.
Okay.
And I would move, and the reason for these amendments I would like to review is that I think it would be wise for us to review our current rates and potential increases, as well as review our plans to repay debt service with the wastewater master plan about to increase our annual obligation from 3.5 million roughly to 6.9 million every year. So until we can get to a place where we can fully discuss that with the overall budget, I would move that we accept the plan that Mr. Worthington has laid out for us with the following changes. Within the water fund, we delete the 3% increase in water and sewer consumption rates. That would make a difference of $129,000. Also, and to cover that, we reduce the increase in transfer to the general fund for PPFA debt service, and that would match that $129,000. And then a second amendment would be regarding the general fund, to delete the establishment of the assistant city attorney position, which would amount to $150,000. And then to cover that, we reduce the transfer in from the water fund to PPFA debt service at $129,000, and also adjust the establishment of the budget reserve account $21,000, and that would be the amendment.
Okay. Now you have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second, Amy Faust.
A second. All in favor of accepting this, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Aye. So the vote is 4-2 to accept the budget as recommended. This is a substantive change, and so this will have to be the first reading. Is this correct, Mrs. Newby?
Yes, sir. So whenever there's a substantive change to an ordinance, it requires an additional second reading. And so we can work in the amended language for an additional second reading at your next meeting. And that's when it would become final, provided that it passes at that time.
Okay. Thank you very much.
If I may, and I would like to especially thank Mr. Worthington and Mr. Smith for working with us on that. Thank you very much.
Okay. 8A2 is the second reading of an ordinance amending the City Code Section 25-31, separate water meters relative to a master meter. Mr. Duffy?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Yes, as you may recall from our last meeting, the Code Section 25-31 was updated several years ago to specify, among other things, that all commercial developments serving multiple tenants shall have a separate water meter for each unit that can be rented, leased, or sold separately. In review of practice with different types of buildings, such as a single building that has multiple tenants, for example, the currently under rehabilitation former Rite Aid building at 1325 Washington Street, is really what brought this to the forefront. We're seeing different types of buildings being remodeled and constructed both. So the staff proposal for a process improvement to allow for adequate flexibility under unique building typologies is the addition of the letter D you have before you to this code section, which is Exceptions to the above listed separate water meter requirements may be granted at the discretion of the chief building official following receipt of a written request outlining unique circumstances relating to a development. Such provisions may include rehabilitation of an existing building, unique tenant build-out arrangements, or potential other reasons outlined in the written request. Pre-approved master meter and/or vault design templates may be available through the Community Development Department and confirmable upon request. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions, council members? Thank you, Mr. Duffy.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here this evening that would like to address mayor and council relative to this ordinance? Thank you. Council members, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the separate water meter ordinance as outlined by Mr. Duffy.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same. Please let the record show that the ordinance was approved unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Duffy. Item 9 is any other unfinished business. 9A is unfinished business from the mayor. I have none. Unfinished business from the council members. Dr. Faust? Mr. Jones? Dr. Albritton?
No, sir.
Mr. Moody?
No, sir.
Mr. Peterson?
No, sir.
Reverend King? Is there any unfinished business from our city attorney, Ms. Newby? Is there any unfinished business from our city manager, Mr. Smith?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Item 10 is new business. 10A are matters that were referred from our February the 2nd, 2026 work session and our February the 3rd, 2026 pre-council meeting. We had a number of items that were transferred over from our discussions last night in our work session, so we'll go through each one of those. 10A1 is Heritage Oak Park rental. Mr. Smith?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, you will recall at your first round of meetings in January, administration came to you with a request to stop private rentals at Heritage Oaks Park. This came upon a lot of discussion with staff relative to the onerous requirements associated with hosting events, some issues that we've had with events that were held out there, that sort of thing. There's a lot of good discussion on that. But the general consensus was that this body would not be interested in prohibiting private rentals, generally speaking, at Heritage Oaks Park. I think you're all very aware of the issues, the public safety issues, parking issues, that sort of thing that we have experienced at that location. And you have charged staff with putting together a revised rental agreement and policies associated with rentals at that location. To come back to you that address as best as possible the challenges associated with renting at Heritage Oaks Park. Part of the ongoing discussion relative to rentals at Heritage Oaks Park was the moratorium. You all chose to place a 45-day moratorium on new non-scheduled rentals at that location. Staff tonight would request that you extend the moratorium for an additional 45 days. That would take the moratorium through March 17th. And that would provide staff time to put together the revised documents and policies and things that you want to see, and hopefully get those back to you at your first meetings in March.
Okay, and my understanding is there's a condition under that the current bookings would be allowed during that moratorium.
Yes, sir.
This is for new bookings at that location.
Yes, sir. So the city events that are currently slated to occur at that location would continue, and we have one private rental on the books as well that would also continue.
Okay. Questions, council members? Hearing none, at this time I'll entertain a motion to approve the moratorium on Heritage Oaks Parks as outlined by Mr. Smith.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the request was approved unanimously. Item 10A2 is the city banner policy. Mr. Smith?
Another interesting housekeeping item, Mayor. There have been ongoing discussions for probably years now with various organizations and events coming in and requesting banners here in downtown Perry to celebrate or advertise for certain events, that sort of thing. And it's always been kind of handled on a case-by-case basis. Administration did think it would be prudent to put into place some sort of policy that you all can refer to when making those decisions as we move forward. Last night you were presented with a draft of that policy that outlines a number of items, including which events would be allowed to have banners. And you will recall that staff is recommending that 4 events be allowed to have banners each year. And the thought behind these 4 events is it's kind of the 4 primary events held on an annual basis in the downtown district here in Perry. And that would be the Perry International Festival, Perry Dogwood Festival, Perry July 4th Celebration, and the Perry Buzzard Drop. So these events would be allowed to have banners each year. The location for the banners was specified, kind of the traditional location here at Ball Street and Carroll Street on the 900 block. Banners may be hung for 2 weeks prior to the event and must be taken down the next business day following the event. There were design criteria put into place relative to the dimensions and makeup of that banner. One of the big things there is the requirement that banners be made of perforated mesh material, so they're not like ship sails or whatever and get damaged in the wind. Event sponsors cover the costs of the sign production. All of the banners would be installed, taken down, monitored by Perry Public Works. So that was kind of the general criteria. After discussing last night, there were a couple of additions that you all wanted to see that would be included in this policy. The first is a recommendation that there be some sort of staff level administrative review of the proposed design of the banner sign to be located. And that was to ensure that it is relative to the event that it's supposed to be advertising, and that it adheres to the city's design, brand guidelines in the downtown district, isn't offensive, that sort of thing. And then the other thing too would be that staff specify a required number of grommets. Those are basically little holes where you would string and attach it to whatever Public Works attaches it to, so that we ensure as best as possible that the banner is securely fastened. It doesn't present any sort of hazardous sort of situation. So that is what is before you this evening, and if you concur, we would move forward with those general guidelines.
Okay. Questions, council? Hearing none at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the city banner policy as outlined with the conditions that Mr. Smith has discussed.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that the banner policy was approved unanimously. Item 10A3 is Purdue wastewater treatment request. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, as discussed last night at your work session and as is provided to you in your e-scribe, you have a draft letter from the city manager to Purdue Foods here in Perry, their cook plant and harvest plant location on 247 Spur. This past fall, the folks that are over their environmental division approached the city about our willingness and capacity to accept their domestic wastewater flows. And we have been working with them from that time to put together a basic recommendation or outline associated with the city's provision of that service. And generally those tenets are outlined in that letter. You can see that generally the city would be accepting and treating up to 50,000 gallons per day of their domestic wastewater flows. I want to draw the distinction between accepting their wastewater flows, their domestic wastewater flows, which would be their restrooms, kitchens, that sort of thing, and not their industrial flows. That their wastewater flows comply with our sewer use ordinance and the standards associated with that ordinance. All of the costs associated with the conveyance of the wastewater into our system would be borne by Purdue. They would pay a one-time connection charge of $1,071,668. The city, at their request, the city would generally be amenable to having that payment come in 4 subsequent years, divided up into 4 equal payments of $267,917. And a lot of kind of stuff in there relative to the city being able to get in there and monitor exactly what they're sending into our system. From the city manager's perspective, this is a great opportunity for us. We receive a significant connection charge right off the bat that can help go towards debt service payments. And we also establish a strong monthly regular user an account to kind of kick off the new A.H. Harris wastewater or water reclamation facility. So very good opportunity for us. And also, too, I think it's important to keep in mind that when the city was envisioning this new facility, we went ahead and acquired permitting for 24 million gallons per day so that we could expand our plant up to that amount with the anticipation that eventually some of those industries on that side of town, Frito-Lay, Purdue, CEMEX, would see this as a valuable service and possibly send their wastewater flows to that facility.
Okay. Questions, council?
Yes, sir. Just a comment, if I may. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for proactively working with Purdue on this. This is, as you noted, a significant assist with our ongoing expenses. So thank you for working on this.
Okay. Other questions, comments? Yes, sir.
I know in the pre-council, Ms. Mouse had raised the issue of, will this set precedent for every industrial connection to pay over a 4-year period? I couldn't remember if we resolved any of that, finished the discussion. Is that, I don't know if that's kind of a deal breaker for Purdue or anybody else, but
I'm not sure if it's a deal breaker for Purdue. I also don't think it would necessarily set a precedent. Industries or really anybody that was seeking to be served by the city in this sort of capacity would come to you all with that request. And based on what you all see as good for the city, some sort of cost-benefit analysis, that sort of thing, you would consider these on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
So I think that the fact that we are allowing Purdue to pay over 4 years would not preclude you to allowing the same for other potential customers.
Understand.
Or
Okay.
not doing it.
Yes.
Other way, so.
Well, in light of they could be customers that would increase their use of our facility, really like to accommodate that if we can. Thank you.
Other questions or comments? At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the request as outlined for Purdue wastewater treatment by Mr. Smith.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that the Purdue request was approved unanimously. Item 10A4 is Georgia Power cost per pole banner and lighting. Ms. White?
Yes, sir. Last night I reviewed with you all in detail all of the Christmas decorations that are mounted on Georgia Power power poles throughout the city. Some of those streets have seen replacement poles with Georgia Power to upgrade that service. That triggered the city having to apply for and participate in a attachment permit program with Georgia Power to reinstall those Christmas decorations. And the cost is a recurring fee of $60 per pole per year for the permit, and then an installation cost of $1,650, I think, per pole for the installation costs, and then also it'll be additional electricity usage charges. So the recommendation last night was for council to proceed with prioritizing and focusing on maintaining the Christmas lights in the downtown district. This is not something that has to be done immediately, would just need to occur once those power poles are replaced and the current attachments are removed.
Questions, council members? Hearing none at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Georgia Power pole banner and lighting recommendation as outlined by Ms. White.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that the Georgia Power lighting proposal was accepted unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 5, Legacy Park Phase 2. Ms.
Yes.
White?
Yes, sir. Legacy Park was always planned to be a multi-phased project. The first being what you see today, the oval concrete walk and the reflection pool. Phase 2 is proposed to be the relocation of the Confederate monument with a courtyard space and seat walls, as well as reworking the curb at the intersection of Main Street and Carroll Street to provide for a wider turn. We've requested your approval to move forward with bidding, assuming an estimated probable cost of $594,936.50.
Questions, council members?
The funding source is SPLOST, right?
Yes, the funding will
SPOS
be
funds.
coming out of our SPOS funds for leisure services, park and recreation funding. Yes,
Yes, and I think the curb was going to be out of the transportation.
as a transportation,
Yes, sir.
yes.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Mr. Smith had gone over that we're separating those two.
Yes.
Okay. No other questions? At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the proposal for Legacy Park Phase 2 as outlined by Ms. White. Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that Phase 2 was approved unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. White. Item 10B is a special exception application 0227-2025. Ms. Carson, is there anything additional for that? This is the special exception for the 1414 Main Street? Thank you. Questions, council members? At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the application as outlined by Ms. Carson.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. I have 5, those opposed, 1. So we have 5 for and 1 against. So it is approved. Thank you. Item 10C, the ordinance for the first reading and introduction. 10C1 is the first reading of an ordinance to rezone property to amend existing PUD standards. The property is located at 1824 Houston Lake Road and 1904 Highway 127. The tax map numbers are 0P049006200, 0P049006100, and 0P049007800. There's no action required on the part of the council this evening since this is the first reading of this ordinance. Item 10C2 has been withdrawn from the public hearing, so no action is required at this time. 10C3 is the first reading of a text amendment to the land management ordinance to amend section 2-3.12.2 preliminary plats by adding subsection 2-3.13.2G addressing requirements. No action is required on the part of the council this evening since this is the first reading of this ordinance. 10D is award of bids. 10D1 is bid number 2026-04, and this is for 4 police interceptors. Mr. Worthington?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, this bid is for the replacement of 4 interceptors, not additional vehicles that will be added to our fleet. These vehicles were budgeted as part of the current FY26 operating budget. The funding source is the general fund, ultimately via a GMA lease. We received 3 bids ranging from $201,828 to $237,948. The low bid was Stivers Brothers Automotive of Union City, LLC. The total amount is the per unit amount is $50,457. Staff's recommendation would be to award it to the low bidder.
Questions, council? Yes, sir.
It's more of a comment. I understand, Chief Everidge, that according to the budget, you were approved to replace 5. And we all know what, all the discussions we've had up here with finances and trying to, finance certain things that are going on in the city. So I appreciate your work and your diligence in determining that the number of we could get by with replacing 4 rather than 5. That's a significant savings for the city, and I appreciate you for that.
We're working every day for that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Question. And I just want to say before I ask my question, I'm in full support of this, so thank you, Chief. And, but I did want to say, whenever we lease vehicles, they are part of the GMA lease program.
Correct, yes, sir.
And so, in a sense, it's like we borrowed money, correct? And then we pay that back with interest over time.
Yes, sir.
Correct. How and what is the time frame usually on the leases?
For standard rolling stock, which would be trucks, police vehicles, anything smaller than say an F550 or larger, we generally do 3 years. The larger vehicles, it just depends on what it is. For a police, a fire apparatus, we actually went out 10 years recently on a GMA lease because the useful life of a fire apparatus is at least 10 years, more like 20. On the knuckle boom trucks that we get for solid waste, I've financed those out either 7 to 10 years, just depending on what the rates look like at the time. I kind of shop it around. We do typically wait till the end of the year, bundle all these vehicles together and get one lease for all of them. That allows us to get better interest rates. When you're borrowing larger amounts of money, you do get better rates.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the bid as outlined by Mr. Worthington.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the bid was approved unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Worthington. Item 10E are resolutions for consideration and adoption. 10E1 is a resolution accepting ownership and maintenance of rights-of-way and certain infrastructure at the Preserve at Ag Village, Section 2, Phase 4. Mr. Duffy?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Yes, so this is a resolution to accept the new roadway and related infrastructure as part of the city's street grid network, essentially. The installed infrastructure has been inspected by our engineering services division inspectors and either meets or exceeds the minimum city standards. This portion of the Preserve at Agricultural Village, Section 2, Phase 4, is surrounding Planters Row. I'd be happy to help with any questions.
Questions, council members? Hearing none, at this time I'll entertain a motion to accept the resolution as outlined by Mr. Duffy. Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the resolution was accepted unanimously. 10E2 is a resolution accepting ownership and maintenance of rights-of-way and certain infrastructure in the Preserve at Agricultural Village, Section 3, Phase 3. Mr. Duffy?
Thank you again, Mayor. So similar acceptance resolution here. Also in the Preserve at Agricultural Village, Section 3, Phase 3. The related infrastructure has been inspected as well by city staff and either meets or exceeds the city design standards. This right-of-way includes portions of Rusty Plow Lane and the Encore Drive.
Okay. Questions, council members? Hearing none, at this time I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution as outlined by Mr. Duffy. Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show the resolution was approved unanimously. 10E3 is a resolution accepting ownership and maintenance of rights-of-way and certain infrastructure in the Orchard on Main, Phase 1. Mr. Duffy?
Thank you again, Mayor. Mayor and Council, this is our third and final resolution of acceptance and ownership for maintenance and rights-of-way and certain infrastructure in the Orchard on Main in Phase 1. All roadways and related infrastructure have been inspected and meet or exceed our city standards. This one will include portions of Wildflower Lane, Pleasant Oaks Drive, Willow Creek Drive, Crossroad Drive, Main Street, and Keith Drive entrance areas. Be happy to help with any questions.
Questions, council? Hearing none, at this time I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution accepting ownership as outlined by Mr. Duffy.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that it was approved unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duffy. Item 10F is Star Trek Liquors doing business as Squire Package Store request. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, the city has received a formal request to refund an interest payment that was made on a late tax payment. The total amount of interest that was paid by the requestor, which is Star Trek Liquor LLC doing business as Squire Package Store, was $48.50. And their justification or rationale behind the request was that they did not receive their city tax notice. Once staff received the request, we looked into it, obviously, and a couple of things for you all to consider as you consider this request. The first is that the city utilizes the same database for contact information, including mailing contact information, that the county does. The requestor received their county tax notice, so it was not an issue with the information that was utilized to send out the notice, and they actually paid their county taxes. Now, this is someone that has been established in the community for a while. They've been paying taxes for years now. They should understand that they should pay city taxes too at the same time they pay county taxes. Also, too, we looked and there appears to be no issue with our internal processes. That's obviously something that we look at. Is there something that we did wrong that resulted in this person not receiving the information they're supposed to receive? And no, we can't make that determination. We have made the determination. We can't find any sort of issue with our internal processes. Now, it may be a deal where they did not receive the notice due to some fault by the U.S. Postal Service or something like that. However, that is outside the city's control, and it would not be my recommendation that we essentially absolve the United States Postal Service of an error they made and absorb the loss of revenues for a late tax payment. So given the preponderance of evidence, as they say, administration does recommend that we deny the request to refund the interest that was paid in the amount of $48.58.
Questions, council? Mr. Moody?
No, sir.
Okay. Hearing none at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the administration's recommendation to deny the refund.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that the refund was unanimously denied. 10G is Wind River Woodlands water main looping. Ms. White?
Thank you. Wind River subdivision on 127 does not have looping, which is essentially that they only have one source of water off of the water main. There are 142 homes or customers in the Wind River subdivision, and we would like for council to approve the quote from Powell's Plumbing and $39,800 administered through ESG or Infomark in order to provide a secondary connection so that we can limit the number of customers that are turned off for water in the case that there's a repair or a water main break.
Okay. Questions, council, relative to the looping of this? I think Mr. Smith pointed out this could be a safety issue as well, public safety issue as well, by not only having one connectivity there. So, questions?
Yes, sir. What's the funding source of this?
It was going to be SPLOST, right?
The funding source will be SPLOST. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Hearing none at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the looping request as outlined by Ms. White.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that the request was approved unanimously. Thank you. Item 10H is 2026 Water System Master Plan. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mayor. The city has long prided itself on planning initiatives. Of course, we're a plan-first community with the state. and we have done a number of proactive planning initiatives, completed a number of those initiatives to try and make informed decisions as you all are making decisions. One thing that the city has not done is put together a master plan for water services. You will all recall back in 2018, and it took a little while, the city did have put together a master plan for wastewater sewer services. And that document has provided you all guidance in a number of key decisions that you've made over the years. It appears that water is going to become a bit of a bigger issue for us. There are some things coming up that will need to look at water service and need to have the information available to us as decisions are being made. And those important items that are coming up, first, the comprehensive planning initiative that the city is going to be completing over the next year. There will be a lot of discussion relative to growth, service provision, capital improvements, all that sort of thing. And it would behoove us as a city to have a plan in place that informs those decisions. The second is, and it runs concurrently generally with the comprehensive planning initiatives, there will be some negotiations with the county relative to service delivery strategy. That's a required thing that we have to do with the state that outlines which jurisdictions provide which services. And right now, there's a lot of intermingling with water service as it relates to our relationship with the county, and being able to make solid determinations in those negotiations with the county, of course, will be something that we hope to be able to do. You have in your e-scribe a proposal from ESG Engineering to complete the water master plan. And you can see in there's a scope of services outline that I would envision would provide you all with something that is substantive and that can inform decisions that you're all making. Task 1, looking at what water demands are going to look like, planning for the horizon, as it says on here. What is the city generally going to need as it relates to water service moving forward? Taking a look at existing system conditions. Taking a look at water system needs and improvements, so kind of a CIP, capital improvement plan element there. And then, of course, the water system master plan. And I've already discussed this with you all, but the part where it provides and develops a determination and map showing which entity, either the city or the county, is in the best position to provide water service currently in the future. That is a key component that I wanted to make sure was included in the scope of services for a bunch of obvious reasons, which I just alluded to. So the total cost as is proposed is $46,500, not to exceed, and that will be paid for with SPLOST, should you all choose to move forward. The city did receive multiple proposals on this, and this proposal was the most competitive price-wise and provided the same scope of services as the higher cost proposal we received.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Questions, council members? Yes, sir.
I couldn't remember in reading the contract. Is there a time frame how long it will take them to perform the study for us?
Right now, they're envisioning 4 to 5 months, which seems ambitious, but we'll push them along.
Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. Smith, can you talk to us about the benefit or drawback of using ESG, which is a subsidiary of our current provider, to do this study?
Sure. As Dr. Faust alluded to, ESG Engineering is a kind of sister organization to ESG operations. They're all under the kind of Inframark corporate umbrella, if you will. I think there are a number of benefits associated with utilizing ESG Engineering for this project. The first would be, for me, familiarity with our system. With the kind of relationship with ESG operations, they're very familiar with our water operations and the infrastructure that's out there. In the past, ESG Engineering has completed some very significant water modeling projects for the city. So they're, again, probably out of all the engineers that we've used, the most familiar with our water system. Another benefit, I think, would be, forgot where I was going with that one. Yeah, no, of course. I guess, a perceived possible drawback, but I don't see it, would be, again, just kind of the relationship with their parent company and all that, and possible conflict or something like that. But, I think with staff oversight and, they're professional engineers, that we would not encounter anything like that.
Thank you.
Okay, other questions? Thank you, Mr. Smith. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the request for a 2026 water system master plan as outlined. Motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that the request was approved unanimously. Item 10I is the announcement of the final candidate for the Assistant City Manager position. Ms. Birdshaw?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We have completed the recruiting process, interview process, and we have a final candidate, Mr. Mitchell Worthington. We will bring it back to you in 2 weeks. We have a 2-week waiting period, and we'll bring the resolution back to you on the 17th for your approval.
Okay, thank you very much. Congratulations, Mr. Worthington. Item 10J is the 2026 Transportation Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax Intergovernmental Agreement. Ms. Newby?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, before you is your consideration for an intergovernmental agreement with Peach County and the cities of Byron, Fort Valley, and Warner Robins. Much like the IGA that you approved relative to Floss in Houston County, this would allow for the voters in Peach County to determine whether or not to move forward with a T-SPLOST. That would be heard at the election in May of 2026. The T-SPLOST would be for a period of 6 years, beginning in October of 2026, and it would be a 1% transportation sales tax, again, only within the special district of Peach County. We do have a small portion of the city of Perry that's located in Peach County, and that would equate to the city receiving 1.2% of the proceeds from any T-SPLOST that's collected, and that's been estimated to be around $420,000 for the city to be able to use for roads and transportation within Peach County.
Okay. Questions, council members?
Yeah, your explanation during the pre-council to some of my questions was really helpful. The funds would only be used in the Peach County portion of Perry. Does that mean that those people in that Peach County portion are the only ones that can vote for it? Or is this a
No, it was a county.
Citywide
It
for
was
us?
a countywide vote, and we
Okay.
didn't vote on it.
Okay.
I mean, only the people who are registered in Peach County that live in Perry, which is a very small number, did have the opportunity to vote for it.
Okay. Thank you.
So it was approved, the T-SPLOST, and this is just how they're dividing that money up and making sure that all the parties endorse that. And so, like we talked about, it's not necessarily only roads, there are other considerations that if the airport isn't, I guess a good portion of the airport is in Peach County. So looking at expenses out there, possibly of improving it could be utilized as well, I think. Other questions? Yes.
Just to clarify, because I want to make sure I didn't mishear.
Go ahead.
But approval of this IGA is stating that we're agreeing to participate and to move it forward to a vote in May.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought they had already approved it. Okay.
No, sir. It would be at the upcoming election to be held May 19th of 2026.
Thank you for that clarification.
But the way that you described the voting is correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So it will be coming up on the on the election in May, so, okay. All right. Any other questions or clarifications? At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the T-SPLOST as outlined by Mrs. Newby.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Please let the record show that the intergovernmental agreement was approved unanimously. Item 11 are general public items. Is there anyone here this evening that would like to address mayor and council at this time? Thank you. Item 12 are council member items. Dr. Faust? Okay. Mr. Jones? Dr. Albritton? Mr. Moody?
No, sir.
Mr. Peterson?
Just to say to Chief Parker, thanks for bringing the fire truck out today. That was cool.
Reverend King? Okay. Anything from Mr. Smith?
Yes, one thing, Mayor. I know we discussed it in pre-council, but just to get it out in the public meeting. The city was informed by the Georgia Department of Transportation this week that substantive construction is going to begin on the Hendricks Bridge replacement project. You know, that's the replacement of the bridge on General Courtney Hodges Boulevard. And construction is going to start the week of February 16th. And there are going to be traffic shifts and road closures associated with that construction. And as I mentioned to you all this evening, it's going to be disruptive. There's no doubt about that. That's a major thoroughfare here in the city. However, our communications team and our public safety and public works folks, are engaged, and they are working to make sure that the citizens and businesses are informed, and that we can address issues if they arise.
Questions, council? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Anything else? No, sir. Ms. Newby, do you have anything for us this evening? Okay. Thank you. Item 13 is department head items. Ms. Wharton?
Yes, Mayor. Once again this evening, I'd like to remind council and the public that the Economic Development Department will be hosting our Startup Summit on February 19th and 20th. So this will be a great event for anyone that's looking to start a business. So we would encourage you to come. It's free to attend and participate. And if you'd like more information, I'm happy to share that with everyone.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Worthington? Nothing further. Mr. Duffy? No, sir. Mr. Coates? Nothing tonight? Okay, thank you. Chief? Nothing tonight, sir. Brought the big fire truck, huh? Good. And didn't require us to wash it. Chief Everidge? Nothing tonight, sir. Ms. White? Ms. Birdshaw? Ms. Clark? Okay, I think that's everybody. Mayor items is item 14. I just want to remind everybody that these meetings are open to the public, and we encourage your interest and participation. Our next meeting will be February the 17th here at 5 o'clock with our pre-council meeting and 6 o'clock with our regular council meeting. The 16th is a holiday, a federal holiday, so we will not meet as in our work session on the 16th. Council members, we do have a requirement for an executive session this evening relative to real estate. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session. Motion and second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We are in executive session at this time.